Hey friends, welcome back. I am really excited that you came back again. This week we are talking about characters in this Pantsing a Novel series. So let's dive in and let's talk about characters. What do you think is the most important aspect of a novel? Do you think plot? Is it the setting? Is it characters? It's definitely characters. I know it's easy to think that plot is the most important part because, without a plot, like where's the story going? What is it doing? It seems like plot should be the most important part. But I'm going to tell you, characters are definitely the most important, and here's why. Your readers connect emotionally with your characters. They don't connect emotionally with a plot. Think about the last time you read a book and you really connected with that book. What was it? It was probably one of the characters that you connected with. My husband and I have been blitz watching the Harry Potter movies, and we just got to the Deathly Hallows yesterday, and we're gonna watch Deathly Hallows Part 2 tonight, and I seriously have cried like through the last entire 2 movies because I am so emotionally connected with these characters and with what they're like, all of them. The whole Harry Potter's been out for so long that I'm sure I can talk fairly freely about this. But, the whole Order of the Phoenix and Harry and Ron and Hermione and everything that they're doing, I am so emotionally connected to these characters that, the plot is so secondary. It's really, obviously you need the plot to drive the story forward so that you have a sense of, you're going somewhere and you're doing something. But if you were to just take the plot of Harry Potter and take out all the characters, it's nothing. It's not, it wouldn't be what it is today. The reason that Harry Potter is so successful is because J.K. Rowling wrote the characters really well. And even from the very first book, if you've read them, it's so easy to feel connected to Harry because he feels so real. That is what you want to do with your characters. You want your characters to feel real. So how do we do this? I learned a technique a while ago about developing characters and traits, like character traits. And if you think of a soundboard, like a music soundboard that has all the faders on there, and you take your character, you put their name at the top, and then you have all these different characteristics. Are they introverted, extroverted, or impulsive or controlled? Whatever, you just pick what all these are, and then you basically slide your fader to wherever they sit on those scales. So that's a really good way to start some basic character development. Another technique is interviewing your characters. So you come up with a questionnaire, 10, 15, 20 questions, whatever, and you start having your character answer them. There are hundreds of lists of questions that you can find on the internet. But you can even start with something as simple as, what's your mom's name? What's your dad's name? Do you have any siblings? Do you have any pets? What's your favorite childhood memory? What's your worst childhood memory? What is your greatest aspiration? What is your greatest fear? And you answer them from the point of view of your character so that this person starts to feel like a whole person. What you ultimately want from your characters is for their decisions to be logical and to make sense for their character throughout a book. Have you ever read a book where you're reading along and you're going with the character and suddenly they do something that's completely out of line for their character? And you're like, wow, where did that decision come from? That's the stuff you want to avoid. Obviously, as you break it down, you would probably see that was a decision that needed to be made to push the plot in the direction the author wanted to go. So even though it wasn't a decision that was in line with the character, it was a necessary decision to go the direction they needed to go. If you find as your remember, we are pantsing here. If you find as you're pantsing along, you decide that you need your character to make a certain decision for the book to go in the direction that you have kind of imagined in your mind, and it's not a decision that is consistent with your character, you're going to have to bring in another character who will drive that decision, where that decision is in line with their character and your main character defers to them. Now this makes things more complicated because, now obviously the more characters you introduce, the more you have to develop them. But in order to remain true to your character, like, they have to earn the decisions that they make. You need to earn the trust of your readers. And so when your characters are consistent, when they follow through with the way the reader believes that they're going to do, all of those things, you're earning the trust of your readers. And the more trust that you earn, the more freedom that you have to do some things that seem wacky or out of character, but you have to make sure that it does somehow tie back into who they are or who they're going to become. Obviously your character can't stay stagnant and flat the whole time. Your characters, all of them, need to grow and develop throughout the course of the book. If your character is the same at the beginning and at the end, you have failed in your character development. Because nobody, even from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, we've grown a little bit, we've maybe learned something new, whatever. Everybody grows and changes, and so your characters need to grow and change too. But this growth and this change need to be earned, and it needs to be logical, and it needs to make sense. So, if we look at this in the view of pantsing, because we're not following an outline, we don't really know where we're going as we write, and we haven't already developed all of our characters, you're going to have to take writing breaks for character development. So last week we talked about hitting a wall and hitting writer's block. Sometimes the cause of that wall is not knowing how your character is going to respond. That can be a really big clue that you need to do more character development, because as you get to know your characters more and more, you should just know what decision they're going to make. So that's why it's so important to develop your characters, to really make them feel like whole, entire people, that they have a history, they have a present, they have a future. Even if you're going to kill them off, they still need to live up to that future, or whatever future they think they have. All of that needs to be brought into your character so that they feel real, they feel whole, and they feel like someone your reader is okay investing emotionally into. I could talk about this forever, but I'm going to cut myself off. We'll talk more about characters tomorrow on my blog at carriejellick.com. I'd love to hear what you have to say about some of this stuff. You can always leave a comment below, or you can find me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm all over the place. You can hunt me down, Carrie Jellick Author. I'd love to connect with you, talk a little bit about characters. I have new videos on Tuesdays, new blogs on Wednesdays, book reviews on Mondays. So if you're looking for a new book to read, you can definitely check that out. And in September, I am going to have a new segment on my blog, but I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. I know. So look for something new on my blog in September, and it should be, I'm just super jazzed about this new section on my blog, and I hope that you will find it to be useful to you as well once I unveil it. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it next week as we're counting down. We're almost there, right? So look for that. I'm really excited. It was great talking to you this week about characters. I love characters. I love people. So I will talk to you next week about plot. We will figure out what is plot, how does it work, all of that. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye.